I hope you guys are doing well. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I'm not going to keep you for very long today. I just thought that it was worth kind of talking about a couple of things. I'm here in Louisville, Kentucky. I came here to visit my family, and while I was here visiting family, I saw some developments in the Amber Geiger case that really kind of blew my mind. I don't know if any of you saw what was going on with the case in terms of the aftermath. In case you've been buried under a rock, you saw where Amber Guyger was the white police officer who walked into the apartment, supposedly accidentally, of Botham Jean, and effectively shot him and killed him. And she got 10 years in prison. And there was a whole lot of hugging and kissing and all kinds of stuff. I'm sure somebody cooked her dinner after it was over with. Whole lot of buffoonery up in that mug. And so the buffoonery by the judge and by Botham's brother. I'm sorry, he's a kid, but I think that he was a little misguided to allow himself to be used as a political pawn. That was all a problem, right? So all these issues kind of popped up out of this case because it triggered a lot of people. And then suddenly, the next day, a key witness in the Botham Jean trial or the Amber Guyger trial, whichever one you want to call it, ends up dead. He's shot dead, which is like okay, okay. Now, by the way, Care Fever, you say we need to shoot the police. Just so you know, you want to be cautious about using language like that in the chat, because if you do, YouTube likes to flag people for stuff like that. They get real funny about any sort of advocacy for violence or whatever. So, I say, what you're going to do is what you do. But whatever you're going to do, you ain't always got to talk about it. How about that? Let's just say that. And I hope you won't do that. I hope you won't, get yourself in any bad situations. But at the end of the day, there's talking and then there's doing. And in fact, Dallas is an interesting place because I had a guy that was there was a follower. He was one of our. He actually was a student in the Black Business School, and he had emailed me several times. I didn't even know it because I don't check my email. And basically, this brother in Dallas. He dealt with some cops. Let's just say that. I'm not going to talk about it too much because, like I said, the social media police are watching. So you gotta watch what you're saying. They banned Farrakhan. They banned, Tariq. I think he got a few videos taken down. They're always suspending me, so I don't want to talk about it too much. But you can look it up. There's a brother in Dallas, and right in Dallas, who dealt with, who responded to the police in a way that is that they didn't expect. And I got a call from a reporter. I never told you guys the story, but he called me and he said, "Do you know this guy?" And I said, "No, I don't know him." Why you calling me? Asking me if I know. I don't know the dude. And they were like, "Well, you're on this email thread that he emailed a bunch of people his last, letter before he went and responded. Let's say that." And he said, "You're on the list." And I said, "Really?" And I read and I went through. He said, "Can you check your email?" And I checked my email. And there it was. And then I checked and I searched for his email and I saw several emails from him. And I had missed them all because my email, I get too many emails. So I to keep my mind clear, there's certain things I just don't do much of, like talk on the phone or email. And literally, I felt so bad for the brother. I saw where like most of the emails were very basic questions like, we're meeting for class next week. Can you tell me where we can go to get the link or whatever? Or what do you think about, is real estate better than stock market investing? That kind of stuff. But then the emails got much more intense as time went on. They got much more serious. And then there was that last one where he was basically very logically, very intelligently explaining why he was sick of this shit, and he was military minded. He was not a, and I'm not, and so I didn't call the guy back. I didn't call the reporter back because I'm like, well, what good does it do if I sit here and I tell you all of this about this brother? I mean, may he rest in peace. Because, the reality at the end of the day is I can't sit here and pretend like you can't understand how he felt, because I'm like, y'all understand it. When 9/11 went down, wasn't nobody talking about forgiveness and hope and love and kissing and hugging and smooching on the witness stand and shit. Like y'all were up here trying to go handle your business, So I'm not telling people how to respond to things like that. All I'm trying to say is that The unfortunate reality for being black in America, I think, is that we are peaceful, nonviolent people in the middle of a very violent society, in a very violent world. When I sat down, I had a long conversation with Minister Farrakhan once. We sat there. It was me, him, and I had brought along this woman I was dating at the time. It was about 5, 6 years ago. I don't talk much about her because unless I'm going to marry a woman, I don't really talk about her publicly like that. I talk about Alicia a lot because that's going to be my wife. But anyway, she came along with me and we sat there for 2.5 hours. And I remember one thing the minister brought up that I thought was really interesting and compelling and thought provoking. It was right after Django had come out, Django Unchained. And he said, and he brought up the fact that there were in America, there are more guns than there are people. You got more guns than people. And then when you talk about Dallas is kind of the peak of that, right? Like Dallas is like the apex, like the center of gravity when it comes to guns and the use of guns and violence and crazy Texas cowboys with boots and hats and pickup trucks with tires that are this tall and just real abrasive behavior. And so it's kind of like it's hard to tell the black man to just sort of sit back there and be a little pussycat in the middle of a bunch of damn lions and tigers and bears. You know what I mean? Like you can't, and that's the problem. That's your biggest challenge is that, I think that you kind of think that always being peaceful all the time, no matter what, is the answer to everything. And the thing is that other people may not see it that way. Now, I'm not advocating for violence. I don't do that. I advocate for freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of action. So whatever your mind tells you to do, maybe there's a reason that God sent you in that direction. So anyway, my point, so going back to what we were talking about earlier, is so this brother who was a key witness in the Botham Jean trial, he lived next door to Botham. He ends up dead, right? So right after all this Amber Guyger buffoonery goes down, with his brothers on the stage stand talking about, I forgive you, I don't wish any harm for you, I wish you weren't going to jail, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. This brother ends up dead, and his name. Let me read some of this to you. If you could, please hit that thumbs up button real quick. Please hit the thumbs up button. And also, if you're on Facebook, if you could share this, I'd appreciate it. Please share this. His name is Joshua Brown. And basically, attorney Lee Merritt is the first person that I heard it from. He shared it with a lot of people. Vicky Dillard talked about it extensively yesterday at Fly New Being Queen TV, and I kind of heard her analysis of it. And Vicky's my girl. I love her to death. It says Joshua Brown was a neighbor of shooting victim Botham Jean at the Southside Flats apartments. Jean was sitting in his unit when Geiger walked inside and shot him to death. Merritt, the attorney for Jean's family, told CNN he spoke to Brown's mother, who confirmed the death. Let's see here. So I'm looking here in the New York Times, which tends to be a little more detailed in their storytelling in terms of how they discuss things. The brother, he's 28 years old, and his death occurred just 2 days after a Dallas County jury sentenced Geiger to 10 years in prison, well short of the maximum 99 years she could have received. Now, the sentence angered, they claim the sentence angered Jean's family, which I don't believe that it did. If all your relatives are up on the stand begging for forgiveness or offering forgiveness like it's candy, that tells me that they were happy with the sentence. In fact, remember the brother said, I don't even want you to go to jail at all, which I thought was very strange. It was very strange. So they they said here that his murder underscores the reality of the Black experience in America, according to Lee Merritt. A former athlete turned entrepreneur, Brown lived in constant fear that he could be the next victim of gun violence, either state sanctioned or otherwise. Brown deserves the same justice he sought to ensure the Jean family. So they said that he was found lying on the ground in the apartment parking lot with multiple gunshot wounds, according to Dallas Fire Rescue. Let's see here. Several witnesses heard several gunshots and observed a silver four-door sedan leaving the parking lot at a high rate of speed. What else here? So that's pretty much all they have right now. I want to ask you guys a yes or no question. If you could give me a yes or no, do you believe that they're foul play? I mean, meaningful. How about this? Scratch this. Let me ask a question. Do you believe that his murder was linked to the case? Do you believe that his murder was linked to foul play related to this case? Okay, I see a lot of yeses. Okay, I see a no. All right. I see a lot of yeses, a couple of no's in there, mostly yeses. Okay, I see a lot of you. Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell on myself and say that I just think it's so coincidental that he ends up dead a couple of days after the case. When I think about Dallas, I think about I think about the racism. I also think about the violence. Remember Dallas, just cowboy country like that, and if you live in Dallas, you will just know, like, your state is known for violence. I think about the fact that Dr. Claude Anderson actually talked about how Texas had, I believe Texas had the most slaves out of any state. Like they had to go in there and force Texas to let their slaves go. Like they were like, we're not releasing our Negroes. And some of them Negroes still in slavery down there in Texas. Y'all know what I'm talking about, and so, if you think about this, this brother went and testified against the cop, right? He probably got a death threat or two or something where somebody told him, you better not testify or something's going to happen to you. You can see that happening. The blue wall is thick. The blue wall is very thick. And if you recall, there was also that weird picture, well, not weird, it was interesting, where the judge was photographed. Anybody else see that picture where the judge was photographed with the chief of police? And it's kind of sad because they're both Delta. They're both in the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. No disrespect to the Deltas. Shout out to the Deltas. I love you, but but you saw them both doing the little Delta thing, right? And the thing is, that it implied to me that they have a connection, right? They got kind of a code, kind of like how everybody's mad at Tekashi 6ix9ine for snitching because he's breaking the code of the Bloods. Well, they have the code of the Deltas, and then also there's the code of the police. Right, the police are the biggest gang in every city in America. The police are a huge gang. I know this gang very well because my father was a cop for 25 years. So I know the good and the bad. I'm not a person that walks around saying all cops are terrible, because I don't believe that. Because I know. I mean, I was sitting with my homeboy yesterday who was a cop for many years. He's a good guy. I've been knowing him since kindergarten. But if you don't think cops abuse their authority, then you're wrong. If you don't think cops can engage in illegal activity, you're wrong. If you don't think that cops can do some pretty horrible things, you're wrong. Cops are they when they do right, they're excellent assets to a community. But when a cop decides to do wrong, they can be the most dangerous individuals in a community, because not only do they have weapons, but they ain't scared to use them. Like a cop, you can't be no cop. You can't be no cop if you're scared to squeeze that trigger, because so for example, you compare it to like a Tekashi 6ix9ine situation, right, where everybody's like, yeah, he better get witness protection because they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill him. Well, I can tell you straight up, a lot of people will talk about killing who ain't gonna kill nobody, who will never bust a grape on no, ain't never gonna squeeze no triggers, ain't never gonna do, ain't never done nothing. They just talking, they're pretending. Whereas there is that percentage of people that actually will get the gun and actually will follow through and will kill you. But remember, they're limited. They're slow by a couple of factors. One is it ain't just like super easy to just go get get guns. I mean, it's easy, but it's easier if you're a cop, right? But then number two, like I said, cops they know how. They have no problem pulling out the gun, squeezing the trigger, and they can hit that target, right? So. And even worse, they have a degree of coordination. It used to be much worse, I think, than it is now, because people are watching the cops more than they used to. But cops are very scary people, and cops are very defensive of other cops. So you kill a cop, there's a good chance they're going to kill you. At the very least, they're going to beat you very badly. If you testify against a cop, that's a problem. There have been cops killed for testifying. There have been people killed for testifying against cops who were actually cops themselves. Even cops are scared of cops. So if cops who carry guns are scared of cops, then your black ass, who ain't got no gun at all, should actually have quite a bit of fear of cops. Okay. So I will say that in this case, if you want to know what I do believe that there's foul play involved. I do believe that the Dallas Police Department is under extreme scrutiny. I do think that there's some incest going on here. Politics is a messy game, So when I saw the picture with the judge, with the chief of police, and then I'm like, okay, so a cop's on trial. This judge received an overwhelming endorsement from the Dallas Police Department. You don't get endorsements like that unless you're considered cop friendly. Now, cop friendly doesn't always mean corrupt, but what it does mean is that you see the world from a certain light. Like I saw the movie Joker last night, which was fascinating. I don't know if anybody else saw this movie. It's an excellent movie. And the interesting thing about that movie was they kind of just explained to you how society has at least a couple of perspectives. You got the perspective of the powerful and the rich, and then you got the perspective of the marginalized and the downtrodden. Well, the marginalized and downtrodden people, they see the rich as, as this occupying force, right? That's constantly coming in and forcing them to do things like go to work every day, for low pay, or they kill them if they go and try to get food, even if they're hungry or whatever, they can't get their medication, whatever. But then the rich tend to see the people who aren't rich as a threat because they're afraid, right? They're like, we need police to protect us because these poor people out here that need food and medication or whatever might come up with a gun and pop us and take our money, right? Well, these two groups of people see the police in different lights. So a wealthy person is going to see the cops as as an asset. Like, the cops are good because they keep us safe. They protect us from the terrible people that are going to do bad things, right? Whereas the people on the other side of the fence are going to see the cops as an occupying army, right? So my point, the reason I bring that up is because, when you talk about how the police see this judge, they endorsed her because she's on that side of the wealthy. She's on that side of those individuals who see the police in a positive light. She's on the side of those who see the police as good and helpful all the time. She's not as likely to see the darker side of the police department, right? And the thing is that the system is so problematic and corrupt that even if you acknowledge the darker side, if you're in the system and you acknowledge the darker side of the police, there's a good chance the system will spit you out. So here you have, now go back to that picture of the judge with the police chief. Here you have two Deltas, two Black women. Remember, we a lot of times we get excited about somebody's professional accomplishments without asking sort of what moral trade-offs did you make to achieve that position in society? Like what kind of person are you that led you to be so embraced and so beloved by people who are known for being racist? If a racist loves you, then I'm going to be suspicious of you. It doesn't mean I'm not going to like you. It doesn't mean I automatically assume things about you, but I'm suspicious of you. If I know he's a racist and this racist says, oh, that Negro, that's a good person right there. I like her a lot. I want to give her money. I want to give her promotions. I want to give her power over me. Then it doesn't mean I think that you're automatically a bad person, but I'm going to be like, so what's going on here? What's happening here? Omarosa, how did you get it? How did you get in the White House and get into Trump's ear and become his right-hand woman? How does that work? Tell me more, right? And so I think that there's a reason to be suspicious, because the thing is that you have this weird incestuous kind of thing going on with the politics in Dallas and in every other city. The police chief is taking this picture with the judge. They're both Deltas, so they're connected that way. And then the police chief has an obligation to the officers. You can't be the chief of a major police department without the officers feeling that you are on their side, without the officers feeling that you are their buddy, right? That you're going to have their back, right? It's all about having their back. Having their back comes down to who gets the benefit of the doubt, right? If a citizen gets shot by a cop, then the people that are in power are going to have to say, who do I tend to believe more, right? It's like when they, with the Me Too hashtag, believe women, they were basically saying, give women the benefit of the doubt. When they said believe women, they're saying believe women over men, right? They're like, pick a choice, pick a side, draw a line in the sand. If you don't have evidence and you don't know who to believe women, right? Well, their slogan should be believe cops. Right? Give the cops the benefit of the doubt. That's what it means in many, police departments. This is what I got from watching my dad throughout the years and how the cops operated. Is there is a perspective where people say, okay, are you a cop's cop? If you're a cop's cop, then you believe cops, right? And so, so I believe that this judge and this police chief were both people who would give cops the benefit of the doubt. I also believe that this judge and this police chief are people that would give cops the benefit of the doubt over not just ordinary citizens, but even citizens that look like them. I don't feel that there is much there to say that they would look at this and say, yeah, the blue wall of silence is important, but we'll violate that blue law for a Black person, right? Because remember, even among some Black people, there's a code too. Like, I have Black friends where, my slogan might be, believe Black people. It doesn't mean I believe every Black person, but there are a lot of Black people where I'm like, you know what, if it's a coin toss between whether you did it or didn't do it, I'm going to go ahead and back you because you're my friend. We're on code, right? And so everybody is affiliated with some sort of group or gang or whatever. Like my gang is gang black people. Like I tell you guys every excuse me, every election, I don't vote Democrat. I'm not voting for the Democratic gang or the Republican gang. I'm voting for black people. Whatever benefits black people, that's what I'm supporting, period. Right. So even I have that bias, right? So everybody has a bias. That's my point. I'm not even putting myself, I'm not separating myself from this ideology, right? Most of us are gang affiliated. Your gang might be your family, right? I was with family last night. We're on code. It don't matter. There's a lot of crimes that my relatives could commit, or I'm not going to be the person to turn them in. Doesn't mean I wouldn't. Doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily back them if they do something terrible to somebody. But it's not my job to turn them in, right? But you know, the problem though sometimes is that these codes end up interfering with the process of fairness, because fairness is a code, justice is a code, truth is a code, right? And sometimes one process interferes with the other. So this cop is, or excuse me, this cop is connected with with this police chief, who's connected with this judge, all of whom have received overwhelming endorsements and support from the Dallas Police Department, which therefore means Botham Jean, sorry about that, does not have a gang. He does not have anybody that is going to say, okay, we're going to believe Botham. We're going to, let somebody lose their job over him. We're going to let somebody go to prison over him. Somebody will get killed over him. There's nobody there, right? Even his own family is on a weird code where they're up here talking about, we forgive you. And the shit ain't even really done yet. And you're already allowing them to use you as a political football. So I think that with the family, I was concerned and I felt that their actions were inappropriate, not just because of the imagery of the buffoonery of the judge hugging a convicted murderer, which she had never done before, but also for the fact that you can forgive somebody and keep that shit to yourself. You can forgive somebody without making a public spectacle of the whole situation. Like I can forgive you and not say shit to you. That's what I do most of the time. I forgive a lot of people. Forgiveness is very powerful. It's very important. There are a lot of people I've forgiven, and most people that I've really forgiven, I've never had one conversation with them about forgiving them. Because to me, what's the point? Why am I gonna go? You hurt me, you piss me off. If I talk about it, I'm gonna be mad anyway. So how about this? I just let it go and you go on with your life, and I ain't got nothing to say to you, right? But the fact that they decided to publicly make these statements, and I'm gonna say this and I gotta bounce, but the fact that they decided to make this a public conversation speaks to, one, they knew the cameras were watching and they felt the need to have a public display of affection toward this convicted murderer. Like I got to show how much I love you. I got to kiss your hair. I got to hug you and sniff your blonde hair and sniff the shampoo out of your hair, because I just love you so. I just love you so much. I got to go hand you a Bible and whisper in your ear. I got the bailiff. I got to go play with your hair, whatever the fuck she was doing. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. The imagery was like, I thought my head was going to explode. I don't know if y'all felt this. I mean, I really thought, I was like, what am I watching? What is this? My friend Shannon Stewart, he's out of California. He's my homeboy. He sent me a text. He said, I feel like we're living in the Twilight Zone. I said, yeah. I thought this would have been inappropriate 80 years ago. And so I think that's what is a concern in the case. The corruption's definitely there. The corruption was there in the sentencing. The corruption was there in terms of the inappropriate behavior in the courtroom. And I also believe the corruption spilled over into the death of this poor young brother. Let me say his name before I go, because I got to get out of here. I got family here. Joshua Brown. May he rest in peace. He's a young black man, 28 years old. My heart goes out to him and his family, man. I mean, 28, your life's just starting, man. You got all these dreams, and now they're over because some son of a bitch decided to engage in some inappropriate behavior, and it's very, very, very sad to me. So if you listen from heaven, Joshua, God bless you, brother. May you rest in peace. All right, so I gotta go, guys. Have a good day. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button before you go. If you're on Facebook, please share it to your page. Also, don't forget, I'll be in New York on the 27th of October. So if you want to come to an investment summit, that's going to be really good. Feel free to fly into New York. You can go to drboycenewyork.com. That's drboycenewyork.com. So feel free to go check it out. All right, so hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. And don't forget also, if you want to do even a free membership in the Black Business School, you can go to theblackbusinessschool.com. THE, that's theblackbusinessschool.com. We actually have experts on the line that will talk to you right now about your future, how you can empower yourself. So let us know if we can help you. We love you, and we want the best for you. And I see Vicky Dillon in there. How you doing, Vicky? You did a great job yesterday, and I have so much admiration for you, Vicky. Vicky tore it up at the All Black National Convention. Let me just say that she tore it up. She's one of my heroes. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Be good. Peace.